campaign trail, some Democrats have now dropped out of the race for president. KPIX 5's Phil Matiernai asked former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown about this grueling pace of modern campaigns.
Well, it's all part of that phony measurement of who can run and who shouldn't run. In the old days, you ran until you were exhausted. You didn't go through the nonsense of being overexposed. You could tell stories and lie about who you are, and nobody covered you. Now, it's different. You really do go through the crucible, and clearly, a number of people couldn't survive. Just think of it. If I ended up being one of those candidates, I wouldn't make the first debate.
Oh, I disagree. I'm pretty sure you'd be. Everyone would want you to be on that stage. I think one of the drivers we're seeing is folks who need to run for re-election, and so there's the filing deadline, and then there's the real deadline. And the real deadline is the one you got to tell the party so that they know that they want to keep the seat. They need to get somebody else in there or not. And so I think that's going to drive.
So people said, I'll run for president, but if that doesn't work, I'll run for something else. This will just be my intro.
I'll run for Congress, right, to keep my congressional seat, like an Eric Swalwell did, for example. So I think those kind of deadlines are going to be driving some of these folks dropping out in the near future.
And then the question is going to be, which of the two Texas candidates drop out and run against the Republicans, who is the weakest senatorial candidate among all the prospective Republicans running for re-election for the Senate. Yeah, so either Beto or Castro, one or the other.
Yeah, it's amazing that we have these two candidates from Texas with big name recognition, especially in Texas, neither of whom have shown any interest in running for this vulnerable seat.
Were you at all surprised that Gillibrand or these other people have called it quits so early? I mean, why not keep running? Well, it's free TV. And
I got to tell you, I'm certain that her exit has been delayed. You understand that the guy that she pushed out of the U.S. Senate has been praying for something bad to happen to her, and the Lord finally
You're talking about Al Franken.
Yes,
the ghost of Al Franken.
Do you really think she pushed him out of the Senate?
Well, I think, frankly, he really lost his nerve. He never should have allowed that nonsense to be where he's measured or not measured. The minute he left before the hearing meant that whatever he was accused of, he did.
Wait, Mayor Brown, what is that on? What is that there? What is that? That is the ring the size of? Can we get a close up on that?
Yes.
What is that?
That's.
You've been flashing that all morning.
It's the 5 Super Bowl ring. I may have one of the few that actually exist. And it was presented to me by the former owner of the team, plus a group of other people that wanted me to be acknowledged for having given help to the 49ers for the 5 Super Bowls. So I'm wearing it.
What kind of help?
So there's going to be 10 people on the next debate stage. Is anyone that doesn't make this debate or the next really in danger?
Yes, they are. And remember, unless you're a Tom Steyer who can self-fund, if you're someone like a Tulsi Gabbard or even Julian Castro, who's sort of barely made it, a Beto O'Rourke who sort of barely made it, your donors are going to have a lot of questions as we get to the end of the year. Remember, those first primary states start sort of Q1 next year. It seems like it's far away, and to some degree it is, but those, the Iowa caucuses and the New Hampshire primary, they start at the beginning of next year. So people need to get moving, and they're running out of money.
And that debate stage is really like oxygen to these campaigns.
Well, it's a proof, right? It's not just, exposure. It says I belong at the grown-ups table and I'm a real contender. It's a real sort of sign of faith that they can go back to their donors and create a virtuous cycle. You can also, though, get in the sort of a death spiral. If you don't get on the stage, you don't get money, you don't get on the stage, et cetera. So,
okay.
KPIX 5's Phil Matiernai asked former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown if he believes that President Trump is beatable.
I do. Initially, I have said consistently that Trump is almost not beatable. When he got the nomination, I said the same thing, and then Democrats condemned me because I said when he started running against Hillary, I said, watch out, he could win. I am now convinced he can lose. The 2 polls that matched almost identical numbers for the 5 top people running, they have them all knocking Trump off. The difference is, however, at no point does Trump go above whatever magical number against either one of them. And that's really good. And if I'm Trump, I'd be concerned.
Yeah, but at the same time, these polls are national polls. And as we know and Democrats know very painfully from the 2016 election, it's not a popular election. You've got to look at where the Electoral College votes are and poll based on that, not just based on a generalized thing, because otherwise New York and California, could really skew a poll nationwide that shows huge Democrat favorability, but that doesn't translate into actual.
As a matter of fact, consistently this time around, there's got to be 50 state campaigns. There cannot be a national campaign that beats him. You got to go where those corn growers are so mad at him. They voted for him last time. They're now mad at him because he sided with the oil people and said, you no longer have to put corn in to make ethanol. I mean, he's really doing bad things. Everybody thinks it's tariffs. No, it isn't. It's those individual things that he has done that's creating a problem for him in states we could never touch.
Okay, so how do you get in there and touch him with an agenda that is calling for so many changes in healthcare, in the economy, and such like that?
You drop all those people, and you go to a candidate who's actually talking to every voter, not just voters in specialty categories.
Like who?
Well, at the moment, I'm not available.
Dang. But a lot of people have written off Joe Walsh, who is a Tea Partier, but who just says, Trump is just too uncertain and unstable. Now, he's still running as a Republican, and presumably through the Republican nomination process, which I don't think he'd necessarily be successful in. But if he were to change and run as a libertarian or as an American Constitution Party candidate they already have spots on ballots across the U.S.
Question, is there an opening
that could be a real issue.
for an independent, for another Ross
Yes,
Perot?
for the first time, there is an opportunity. However, I don't think that will get you above 20%. But what that would do is almost guarantee the Democrats win. And if the Democrats are smart, they will be making a call to Mrs. Obama. Just think the ticket. Biden, Obama.
Obama-Biden, I think.
So if Joe Biden's strongest argument has been one of electability, if you've got the top 5 people all polling well against the president, does that diminish that argument a little bit?
Yes, it does. It certainly can. Other candidates can say, well, I'm electable too. Look at all these polls that demonstrate my popularity in these areas as well. But still, I think for some voters, even if there's a spectrum of electability, I mean, it varies, right? Some candidates beat the president in these polls more than others. And so Joe Biden has consistently been at the top end of that. And he can say, yes, but I win by larger percentages. I still have the appeal in those states that are so important to winning the Electoral College. Those, sort of Midwest and those Rust Belt states can say, I'm electable, not just overall, but where it counts.
So a strong argument for him, but he's not the only one that can lay claim to it right now.
That's right.